Hello friends and welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is our course in which we will be reading about the historical background of the Indian polity. This is lesson 1 of the course in which we will be reading about the Regulating Act of 1773, Pitt's India Act of 1784 and the Charters Act of 1833. It is presented by me. My name is Rohan Kumar Singh. I have completed my graduation in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from SIRTS College Bhopal. My hobbies are reading books, listening to music, watching movies and teaching, of course. If you like this video, please do hit the like button, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more such some awesome courses from me. Okay. So here are some of the historical facts which I would like to discuss with you guys before coming to the main topic. The Britishers, they came to India as traders in the year 1600, okay, in the form of East India Company. So it is a very famous company during that time of Britain and in the whole Europe. So Sir Thomas Roe, he actually came to the court of Mughal Emperor as the emissary of the King James I in the year 1615, and afterwards a trade relationship between the Britain and the India had established. Afterwards, in 1765, the East India Company got the Diwani rights. Okay, there was a war which was happened between the native rulers of India and the East India Company. Okay, and after that, the East India Company got the Diwani rights. Diwani rights means right to administer revenue and civil justice. Okay. After some year, in the year of 1857, a sepoy mutiny was held in India against the maladministration of the East India Company in India. And in the year 1858, the British Crown, that means the Crown in Britain, the main authority in the Britain, they assumed direct responsibility for the governance of India. Later in the year 1934, just a few years before independence, the idea of Indian Constitution to govern and administer India was put forward by Aman Roy. Aman Roy was a very famous communist leader during that time. Later, a constituent assembly was formed in the year 1946. Okay. Afterwards, the Indian Constitution was adopted by this Constitution Assembly on 26th of November 1949. Okay, that means the assembly was formed in 1946 and the Constitution was adopted by that assembly in the year on 26th of November 1949. And later, when the Constitution was adopted on 26th of January 1950, the full Constitution was enacted in India. So kindly remember the difference between the date of adoption and the date of enactment of the Constitution. Okay. Now we'll read about the Regulating Act of 1773. So this particular act, it was the first step which was taken by the British government in Britain to control and regulate the affairs of the East India Company in India. Why? Because East India Company is a private trading company and it was earning huge profit from trade with India. So in order to control their affairs, British government tried to control the affairs of the East India Company in India, and it also laid the foundation of central administration in India, because the British government actually taking over the control from the East India Company, and it designated the Governor of Bengal. Remember, the Governor of Bengal as Governor General of Bengal. Okay. And it created an executive council of 4 members to assist him. How many members? 4 members. And Lord Warren Hastings became the first Governor General of Bengal. Now there were other presidencies also, like Bombay and Madras. So these presidencies were made subordinate to the presidency of Bengal. Okay. So the governors of governors of Bombay and Madras were made subordinate to the Governor of Bengal. Alright. It also provided for the establishment of Supreme Court in Calcutta. Very important. For the first time, the Supreme Court in Calcutta was established in the year 1774, and it comprises of one Chief Justice and three other judges. Okay. Later, the British government also prohibited with this act the servants of the East India Company to engage in any kind of private trade with the local rulers or with the local people. In order to control their maladministration, they prohibited the servants of the East India Company to engage in any private trade or accepting any kind of bribe from the locals. Okay. And the court of directors of the company, which is the main governing body of the company, they were compelled to report to the British government on its revenue, civil and military affairs in India. Okay, so this is main points of the Regulating Act of 1773. Later in the 1784, Pitt's India Act came into enactment, and it distinguished between the commercial and political functions of the company. So there are two kind of functions during that time: the commercial function and the political function. So commercial function is generally related to trade with India, and the political functions are related to the administration in India. So with this act actually distinguished between the commercial and political functions of the company. The court of directors were entrusted with the commercial affairs, okay, to regulate the commercial affairs, and a new body was formed, that is the Board of Control, to control the political affairs in India. So there are two separate bodies were there. Okay. So with these two separate body, a kind of double government was formed in India during that time. It also empowered the Board of Control, which is the new body, to supervise and control the civil, military and revenue affairs of the British possessions in India. Okay. And with this particular act, for the first time, whatever the territories the company had acquired from India, those territories were called the British possessions in India, and the British government was given supreme control over the company's affair and administration in India. Okay, so these are the main points of the Pitt's India Act of 1784. Later came the Charter Act of 1833. It is also very important act. It was the final step towards the centralization in British India, and it also made the Governor General of Bengal as the Governor General of India. So it is very important point that the Governor General of Bengal was made the Governor General of whole of India, and it also vested in him all civil and military powers. And Lord William Bentinck became the first Governor General of India. So who was the first Governor General of Bengal? It was Lord Warren Hastings. Later, the Governor General of India was Lord William Bentinck. So kindly remember this difference, okay? And the act also created for the first time the Government of India. So this particular act created for the first time a government for India, okay? And it was having authority over the entire territorial area which was possessed by British in India, okay? So a Government of India was formed for the first time with this particular act. And it also deprived the governors of Bombay. Okay, so it is actually Bombay, not Bengal. So kindly forgive me for this mistake here. The governors of Bombay and Madras were deprived of their legislative power. So it is very important. Since a centralization tendency was there. So due to that centralization tendency, the governors of Bombay and Madras were deprived of their legislative powers, and the Governor General of India was given exclusive legislative power. So kindly remember this: exclusive legislative power was in the hand of Governor General of India. Okay. And this act also ended the activities of East India Company as commercial body. So it is very important point, very important, that this particular act ended the activities of the East India Company as the commercial body, which purely became administrative body now. So the East India Company was no more acting as a commercial body, okay? And it also attempted to introduce, kindly remember this word, attempted, okay, attempted to introduce a system of open competition for the selection of civil servants. Civil servants means those servants who are the employees of the government, okay, and they were responsible for the administrative purposes in India. Okay, so these are generally the civil servants. Nowadays we have civil servants like IAS, IPS. So likewise during that time there were British civil servants. Okay, and this whole concept of civil servants came from there only. So this open competition system was to be introduced, and it also said that Indians would not be debarred from holding any place, office and employment in the company. Okay, but this particular provision never came into being during that time with that act, that is the Charter Act of 1833, because it was negated by the Court of Directors of the company. For your information, I would like to tell you that the Satyendranath Tagore was the first Indian civil servant in India. Okay, so kindly tell me in the comment section if you like, and if you want, just do some kind of research and tell me who was actually Satyendranath Tagore. He was actually the elder brother of a very famous Indian personality. Okay, so kindly tell me in the comment section who was the younger brother of Satyendranath Tagore. Alright. So this is all which I wanted to discuss with you guys for this particular video. If you like the video, please do hit the like button, and if you want to get some awesome courses from me, you can also subscribe my YouTube channel. And if you have any kind of suggestions or any kind of doubts which you want to ask to me, you can post it in the comment section below and I will reply to you. This is my personal guarantee. Thank you very much for watching and have an awesome day.